So you finally watched Raising Dion, which was something I recommended to you in our last What to Watch.
Yeah.
I had already binged the full season in one weekend, and recommended it to you. So my
Hmm.
recommendation to you, I remembered it was, I don't think that you'll watch it on your own, but I think if you watched it with your kids, you would enjoy it.
You
Was I
watched it
right?
over a weekend, you said?
Yes,
I mean, we knocked it out in a day.
but it was with your kids,
It
right?
was with my kids. It was with my kids.
Okay. Do you feel like you would have watched it on your own?
Yes, but I had much more enjoyment with the little ones. They
Yeah.
were definitely into it, and they liked the little twists and turns through the whole thing. And it was a great little tie at the end. I liked it through and through. I've
Okay.
actually recommended it to a few coworkers as well,
Okay.
especially the ones that have kids. It's a good little movie that sit down with the family and knock it out every now and then.
Yeah.
It's good.
Well, so there was only 9 episodes, I
Hmm.
believe, and in our what to watch video, I didn't spoil anything, but this is obviously going to be the spoiler section of it. So overall, from a story perspective, what did you think? Like, was there a slow episode for you when you're just like,
I
oh
don't
my god?
remember episodes specifically, which is good because that usually means that something was either above and beyond everything
Yeah.
else in the series or something was complete trash in everything else in the series. It was kind of a slow burn, but I think you nailed it on the head when you say it goes like this. It's, every episode is dot 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 dot, and then the episode ends, and you're like and then the next one starts, and it's immediate dot 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 dot. Dot. So every episode kind of it starts off a little bit blah and just
Yep.
gets a little bit better. The mother in it, I'm
Hmm.
not gonna lie, I'm not a fan. She reminds me of a coworker that I'm not a fan
So
of,
is it
and
her acting or is it just the way the mother was portrayed? Like, did you not like the
everything.
actress?
Like I could take that mother out and put in my coworker, and it's the exact same show.
So
The way she
I
handled
found,
things, she got kind of
yes,
overwhelmed so quickly on everything, and she's like, "I don't need anybody," and then she's like, "I can't do it alone," and then she's like, "I don't need nobody," and then, "Oh, I'm
yes.
a horrible
I
parent."
I found it really. I feel like
She's
in
whinier than the
that,
fucking kid.
yeah, in that circumstance, like when they were on the boat, like I think it was like the second episode or
Okay.
something. They were out on the in the lake and they were on the boat, and he starts like pulling the fish out
Yeah.
of the water, and she's like, they need air to breathe, or they need water to breathe, and so he pulls the water out, and they're
Yeah.
just like floating, so cool looking,
Yeah.
and then suddenly he starts losing control, and all the trees are blowing, and she instantly freaks out and panics, and I'm
Hmm.
just like, if you freak out and panic, it's not going to do anything. Like, I know I'm not a parent yet, but at the same time, I feel like I would want to calm them down. And by screaming and yelling at the kid to calm down, it's not going to help.
What a lot of things parents do is when a kid, trips and falls over, and if you're immediate like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" It freaks the kid out.
It freaks,
A
yes.
lot of parents will sit there and be like, "Hey, you all right, buddy?" and just kind of smile and laugh, and it doesn't
Yeah.
freak him out as much. No, I'm not a fan of her whatsoever. I enjoyed the kid, even though I don't know if it was his acting, but at that age, I don't think it was. He just felt a little spoiled to me. But
Yeah.
that's just me being a parent, I guess.
I
Um,
think that was more of the way they
the tone,
portrayed the kid.
yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't think that, I felt like it was I guess we're getting out some shitty stuff right now, but I felt like the mom was very one dimensional, and you're right. Like, she was just like, I got this on my own.
Hmm.
Like, I don't think she ever really smiled or laughed or
She
like
did.
stayed calm.
She,
Like, she was always elevated, like either really, really sad or really scared or really nervous or anxious or whatever. Like, she was always
she
elevated in
never felt
tone.
like she had control of anything.
No,
And for being a
no.
parent, that's kind of one thing you need to have. So I was
And
not a fan of her
I
or how they portrayed her.
right. I do understand though, like, she lost her husband, what was this, less than a year ago or a year? Like,
Somewhere
when did
around
she,
there. Yeah, it was a
yeah.
little bit of time.
Yeah, so she is fairly new to the single mom world, and like, job situation isn't stable and stuff, but
Right?
I just felt like her character was so over the top most of the time. The little kid also, I kind of got the sense that he was, yeah, I guess you're right. He a little spoiled, but I think he did a good job, like the
Oh,
acting wise. I think he did pretty
I'm not.
good.
I'm not gonna hate on him whatsoever.
Yeah, no, I thought he did good, especially for being like, what, he's probably like, what, 10?
Yeah.
Um, the
Best friend.
friend Pat, yeah,
Yeah.
friend Pat. Um, at first I was thought like he's very one dimensional, like very like that goofy friend.
He's the
And
one that's
then
on the hip to hold on. This I can relate to this. I not for me personally, but I told you
okay,
last night I went to a Halloween party and I
okay,
saw Pat at the Halloween party. And it
really,
kind of I had to do my own thing because of it, and it was just on right there the entire time. So I had to do my own thing. And by the way, I karaoke'd last night at a yeah I know it's don't let's move on. But
I can see that.
you were rooting for him most of the show. In fact, my
Yeah,
daughter, when he saw the two, the mom and the dancing person, the dancing instructor,
'cause
kind of making it
he's
almost like a joint,
right,
like almost poetic together. It was a beautiful
right,
situation,
right.
but him seeing it, my daughter was like, "Oh no!" And she was all like, "Oh, how could she do this to him?" And all this.
Well, hold on before you go any further. Now, at first, he doesn't even really like her like that. It's not like he's always pined for her or anything. He actually did not approve of his best friend Michael B. Jordan's
Yeah,
character and her getting together.
true,
Like he didn't
right.
like her at first, and then Michael B. Jordan character dies, and he kind of steps up as the godfather and
Mm-hmm.
helps out. And you still see that like they're not really great together, but they have a friendship. And then he starts developing feelings once he gets into the know, which is fairly quickly about Dion's powers.
Mm-hmm.
And they build a little bit stronger because they're the only two that know. They get a little bit closer, and you feel like yes, he is starting to fall for her. He's starting to see that his first impression of her wasn't accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so he does start to fall for her, and you're like, oh, but like, are they gonna force this? Because she obviously didn't feel like that
Yeah,
for
she
him,
didn't have
like
that interest.
not at all. But that argument that they had
Where she's on the
outside,
stairs and
well, yeah,
he's
after
yeah.
he saw them dancing, and they have that argument, um, and he like kind of loses it, and you're just like, okay, I'm getting stalker vibes. Like, where did this like, not where did this come from, because it was a slow, like you said, a slow burn, slow build up to it. um but I was just like, yeah, he can get very obsessive pretty quickly, because they did mention that like he falls for someone and he gets instantly like obsessed with that person,
Right.
and then it happens to her, and it's a big blow up, big fight, and you're just like, oh, I don't know if I'm
It
rooting
was
for him, just the way he talked to her right there.
yeah, I can even during the fight, I saw the creepiness out of him, but I
Yes,
also saw her overreaction as well. And
that's just a given. That
and
her whole character.
I would yeah. Well, I wish it would have made him seem even more over the top if she was trying to kind of work with it and compromise and everything. But she was just like,
Yeah,
never come by ever again. I'm like, Jesus
I know.
Christ. Just,
Like,
fucking, you're supposed to tone down a problem and work through it
yeah,
and kind of go from there. But you're not just going to be like, oh, so you don't like this? I can do whatever I want with whoever I want. And you're out of my fucking life. You never see my kid
yeah,
again. I'm like, that was like 3 sentences and you just ruined like this
yeah. Your kid's
friendship.
life, like
Yeah.
not just your friendship, but like
So,
your son relies on him. So yeah, again,
yeah.
her character, I feel like it was always an extreme of one of those emotions. But like with his creepiness, you're just like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah, you saw it.
and
And right
yeah,
there you
and
knew something was up. That was the coin that
yes,
flipped and you're like,
that,
all right, let me be suspicious of
yeah.
this situation. Uh-huh, just happens to work for the same company. Oh, yeah.
Yep, yep. Well, I did one other character that I did want to talk about before. Well, I guess two other was Michael B. Jordan's the dad.
Yeah.
So we get a little bit flashbacks from him.
Hmm.
I think Michael B. Jordan is an amazing actor.
Yeah,
I think he's great
I agree.
in this. And you see just like his ghost version, or you get flashbacks and kind of get pieces of his story. So I found that interesting. I want to see more of him, to be honest. And hopefully, if the show is a success, then we will get to see more of him.
They led you on
Yes.
to make it seem that way. Yeah.
Yes, yes, because he's the biggest name in the show. So
That's why you can only afford him for an
they had
episode or two,
to.
and a flashback or two.
Yeah, they had to lead you on like, come back, yeah, yeah, make us popular. And then the friend of Michael B. Jordan's character, who also got the ability, like she turned invisible and everything. So
Yeah.
she randomly popped up. I liked her. I felt that she was very real. I like that you got her fear, but then you also got her sense of he saved her life and he's
She
dead
was a
and his
better parent to
son.
Dion than the mom.
Yes, exactly. So like She just, her character, why I felt was well rounded, whereas the mom's character was very one note.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons I liked her. I liked her relationship with Dion and how she wasn't originally going to train him and then started to train him
Yeah.
to control his powers, which I thought his powers, it was very interesting that the way, I mean, he kind of has a little bit of everything, right?
Little devil. Yeah.
Yeah, no teleportation, um, telekinesis. What else did he have?
He didn't have telepathy. The other kid did.
Right.
Telekinesis, basically moving people, lifting girls out of wheelchairs.
Yeah. Poor little girl.
I had such a bad joke during the show to that. I'm gonna share because the internet hates me anyways.
I don't want to share.
So she was like, "Come on, Dion, let's go," and she like.
And these are kids who are probably like 8 years old.
She turns her chair on and they like wheel out of the place. Whenever I'm leaving with my kids, like taking them back to their mom or whatever, I go Autobots, and my daughter goes roll out. So when she starts leaving, I go Autobots, and Tyler, my 8-year-old, goes roll out, and my daughter looks at me and doesn't understand. And then like a couple minutes pass, and then she goes, "Oh, you're horrible." I thought she was a little annoying, but I thought she was actually good. She was probably one of my favorite kids, which isn't saying much because I didn't like too many of the kids on there.
No. The kid that you mentioned that has the
the new bad guy, season 2.
So so he was a son of somebody else who was so the reason Dion has these powers is because his father, Michael B. Jordan's character, was at a event in Iceland, and something happened. Heroes. And Dion is the next generation. Well, somebody else who was at that event also had a kid, because this is like 8 years later. So these kids are all starting next generation with these powers, and so this kid can like read minds and communicate through their minds. And the lady who turns invisible goes to visit them. Yeah. Because she's trying to track down and understand what happened, who else has powers,
the lightning,
everything else. Yes, the lightning man that's coming to kill them all and stuff, the one that killed Michael B. Jordan's. And this little kid's like, take me away. My crazy religious aunt is like psycho, like, take me with you. Who's Dion? Why are you training Dion? Why aren't you training me? Because he can read her mind. Right. And it sets it up so perfectly.
Because he doesn't know who Dion is, but he hates Dion. He
already hates Dion, yeah. But I thought they did a very good job with that kid, to set him up to feel superior, especially when like somebody's on his dad's property and he's like, why don't you just use your powers at them? And it's like, oh.
Yeah, and he can he's already taken a life.
Yes, yeah. So I really like that set. Because it brings it full circle, I think.
Well, how did you feel about, because we obviously haven't gone through the full story, we've mainly going through the character development, but the very end with the electricity going into the kid?
So I guess you have to back that up first, because
lead up to it.
So the electricity guy who has been going around killing people that were at this Iceland event, they start dying, and this is why the invisible woman is so scared, because she's just like,
I gotta hide.
Yeah. And that's why the mom is always freaked out, because this literal giant lightning man is killing people with abilities, and more than likely they found out that he was the one that killed Dion's dad. So she has a right to be freaked out, and so you're just like, what is this lightning? And it turns out, which I was thoroughly impressed and surprised by this. Did not see it coming, because I'm usually pretty good at picking up on this. But Pat was the one, the best friend. Pat.
And when it clicked, they let it click real well together. It wasn't just like he's there and then he goes into Pat. You're like, oh, it's Pat. It was he says something along the lines, I should have killed you when I had the chance, or he cusses at her. He straight up says, I should. What was it? Bitch, I should have killed you when I had the chance. And I was like, what the fuck? And then all of a sudden he just starts going, you're like, oh shit!
Yes.
It was really well done, because it was just like a pop and then a boom. It was great.
Yeah, and then you got to see some of his backstory because he was in Iceland, but the
Hmm.
reason that that we were led to believe he didn't have abilities is because he stayed inside the whole
Yep.
time, is what he said. And he's like, I don't have superpowers. And he was all sad that he didn't have
Yeah,
superpowers
he's
because
pretty
he
pissed
loves
off about
comic
it.
books. And it turns out that he did get hit with some of the things that
Some of it
happened.
lit him
Yeah,
up.
it
He
is.
was the only one
He
to
had all
actually
these
get
scars.
burnt by it.
And the reason he's killing people with abilities is because it's how he survives.
And
Like
he
he
absorbs them to
has to,
continue, or otherwise it would kill him. Yeah.
otherwise he would die. So he has to absorb him, and he didn't mean to kill his best friend, but I think once he turns into that lightning man, he loses control, and he just sees powered people, and then that's when
Which
he
I thought was a
just,
cool little feature to add into that.
yeah, so he killed his best friend, didn't mean to, which is probably why he felt so much guilt to help Dion and put up with the mom's craziness and
When you're
stuff.
looking through, by the way, this is one thing I don't know if they meant to do, but when Dion and the mom were running, and he's in his electric form at the very end climax of the movie, and you could see through
Yep.
his eyes, and you see Dion's outline, like almost
Yes.
infrared. Top
Yes.
left, you see somebody else in a home that is also that way.
Really? I didn't notice that.
I saw it just for a split second up there. What the fuck? So it's like a Heroes thing, but I don't know
Okay.
if it's being affected by. I think they can branch it out because if you just have a core group of people that were in Iceland and then their kids, you're gonna just
And they're
dwindle your numbers. So I don't
right.
know if it's something where you're in such a long contact with somebody you pick them up, or it is transferable, or something like that.
It's an event that's happened before.
Could be. Then it's just been kept quiet in the past.
Possibly. Yep. But no, I love the way that the twist of Pat being the bad guy and him turning and trying to get Dion to heal him, because Dion was like healing other animals that were sick and everything. So like
You know, the
it
fox.
was like he could, but it will kill Dion, and so he gets to the point where his evil side is basically just like heal me, heal me, and
I don't know if it was the evil side. It was I'm gonna have to keep killing unless.
Yep.
Basically, you can look at this in a different light. You could say multiple people die or one child dies.
I know that's
That yeah. So he was
that's
like,
tough.
I want to be healed and never have to do this
Yeah.
again. So I mean, Miss Pregnant over here, would you? What kind of decision
Not
would you
my
do?
child.
I know.
I know. That's
Yeah.
that's rough. I think that the bad guy should just die. There we go.
Just die randomly. Just
Yeah,
don't
just
absorb
like
anybody. Don't get healed. Just die
Just
because
die.
you
Yeah,
obviously
'cause
had
you're the bad guy.
You obviously had a choice in it. Why is he the bad guy?
Because he's killing people.
Because he wanted to live. He wanted to survive.
Because he's killing people.
Do you think he would kill people if he had a choice? What
it
happens?
is his
what do
choice,
you-
though?
No, you said he loses control when he goes into the lightning form. And I'm pretty sure the first thing you worry about when you're trying to save somebody from drowning is them dragging you down. So he's just trying to survive. Oh, I love being able to play this game.
I still think that he's the bad guy.
He's a bad guy. You gotta
if he-
have a finger to point and say, that
if-
is the bad guy. I know.
If he was a good guy, then he would just sacrifice himself to save everybody else, including his godson that he's trying to kill to save himself.
I agree.
It's like Thanos killing Gamora for a better world for himself, and Tony Stark
better
dying for a
universe.
better world, better universe, and Tony Stark dying for his daughter for a better universe.
Yeah.
Are you going to sacrifice yourself for someone else, or are you going to just kill somebody else for your betterment? So if you wrap it all up, he's still a bad guy.
I mean, we can get into the Thanos Iron Man thing if you want, because Thanos would have made the universe a better place, sacrificing his child. And Iron Man.
We're not going into that. This is a raising. That would go down a rabbit hole that would take way too long.
Yeah, I agree. But no, I love the twist. I love the situation.
Yeah.
The
Now
whole
you
show.
had mentioned the lightning after
Going
he was
into
destroyed.
Yeah.
Going into the little kid.
After the kid killed him. After the kid. It was the kid killed his, mom or whatever, or his aunt or whatever she
Yeah.
was to him. And then it went in. So he was already a little shit in the first place.
Yeah, he was.
What's
so
your
I
opinions
don't
of the lightning, though?
on
Going
the
into
lightning.
The kid. On the kid.
Yeah, that's what I was going.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand. Like, is the lightning like? So
represents evil.
the lightning is its own person. Then it wasn't. It was used as a vessel then. So
It's venom. That thing in the
Yeah,
sky
it's
was venom.
Yeah. Okay. So so you discover, because you think it's just Pat that's evil, and then when he dies, you're like, okay, it's the end of it. But then you see the lightning go into the little kid, and so you're like, oh no no no, it's its own self. And maybe it got so strong with all the other abilities that it can do that. I don't know. I would need some more explanation.
So then, my question there's a couple questions then. The kid already has an ability. It chose the kid and went into the kid. Now they're basically together.
Yep.
Did Pat have his own ability prior to this then, and this is something separate? Or is this Pat's ability hopping in between the two? Also, is it Pat that's traveling, or is it a separate entity altogether? And
Oh, good questions.
lastly, I would have rather either A, not have it travel at all and just be done and over, and the kid see something on the news about this lightning storm and put it together where if somehow I don't know how they would have put this together, but if the kid would have healed Pat, then his dad wouldn't have died, and that would have given the kid even more motivation. And they would say,
Hmm.
and local hero Dion, and he's like, that's Dion, and it's the
Yeah.
reason why his dad died, and that would
Yep.
give him more of a
Yep.
reason why these two equally powered
Right.
children can come against each other. I
Yes.
don't like this traveling to a second season because I
I
think
like
that would have
that.
been good independent.
I like that better too. I think you're right. Because there's so many questions, like why can it travel? Can it travel to only powered people? If so, did Pat have a power? If not, then why choose the kid out of everybody in the whole world? But then, like, there's so many other questions that we have to get answered that I hope they address.
I want to see what way
Um,
they go. Yeah, because there's
yeah.
multiple ways you can pan out from this, but I would have
Oh
rather
yeah.
had it not continue. I would have rather had these lightning storm in there, or not be the focal point of it continues. I
Hmm.
would have rather had something
Yeah.
new and
I
fresh.
think that story would have it wrapped up nicely on its own, and then move into season two, with a new bad guy, a new
Hmm.
story. Maybe once the essence goes into him, maybe it forms in a different way. Maybe it's not the Lightning Man. Maybe it forms in a different type of bad guy,
You saying it might be an
more
accelerant?
related. Yeah, more related to his powers. Yeah, so maybe powers were had to do with lightning, but this essence like amplified them
But
and
at the
corrupted or
and Iron
something.
Man 2, at the process of amplifying his abilities, slowly is killing him from the inside.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I'd be interested to see which direction they go. The What would you rate it for the whole season?
It was solo. I would say don't watch it solo. It'll be just a regular background music kind of situation where you pay attention but not so much. But if you have kids, highly recommend it, especially if they're into superhero stuff, because it's not seeing a grown man
Hmm.
flying around in an Iron Man suit, or Captain America who did drugs to defeat the Nazis. You're seeing a child trying to
Yeah.
grow and develop in the tough
Yep.
world that it is. So I think it was actually more relatable to kids, but parents can
Hmm.
enjoy it more with their children than by themselves. I think they
Oh,
both.
for sure.
Yeah.
It's exactly what I told you.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
glad
I
I was
didn't.
right on that.
Good.
No, I agree.
Even a
So
blind even a blind hog finds it slop. I'm glad you're right.
thanks. So I watched it on my own, but I'm super easy on TV shows and movies. You watched it with your kids, and you were ridiculously hard on your grading. But what would you give Raising Dion?
Um, Story wise, 6.5. The twist
You're
made it
doing numbers. You're doing numbers. Since when do you do numbers?
okay. Then I'll go back. I mean, I just
No,
thought
you
six and a
didn't.
half. Oh no. I'd give it a C, a solid C. But the
Okay.
twist made it a C plus.
Okay.
Because the twist, I really pride myself on seeing these things coming down the
Yeah,
pipes,
me too.
and
And you
it,
don't.
it took me by surprise. When you saw it starting to turn, it was already too late, and it was already a surprise through that the whole situation. Because honestly, from the fight at the staircase to when
Hmm.
he says, "Bitch, I should have killed you in New Orleans," that's
Yep.
like a 5 minutes in the same episode.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's a twist like that. You're like,
Oh yeah.
holy shit.
Oh yeah.
So it was beautiful. I enjoyed that.
Yep. I would give it, because I watched it on my own. I definitely recommend binging it, because if you try to watch like one episode, like if this show had come out once a week, I would have stopped because I would have gotten bored.
Yeah.
Um, but if you binge it, it's only 9 episodes, so sick at home, binge it. But I would give it probably a 7, because I enjoyed it. It's
Hmm.
it's I think I was at home not feeling well that day, so I just like sat on the couch 9 episodes or something, like watch it in over a weekend. But
Right.
I enjoyed it. I definitely would recommend it if you have young kids to watch it with young kids.